No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Pow day.
Dude, let's go.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing? Good morning. Happy Monday here. Bronco Nation News Live at BroncoNationNews.com. My name is BJ Rains. It's a Blue and Orange Store Monday here, so we appreciate Travis Hawks and company at the Blue and Orange Store. You can get your Boise State basketball, football gear anywhere in the world online at the blueandorangestore.com. We got our man Mike Prater with us as well. He's in the RowPaint.com studios there in downtown Boise, KTIK. It's a Monday, and Mike Prater, always Monday, but we can confirm that we're not starting late because of my return trip from Circa. This one's on you today, man.
We're working through some logistical stuff here at KTIK and the RowPaint.com studio. But yeah, you were on time. I was on time. This isn't because Prater ate and drank too much yesterday, so we're ready to go. It's Monday morning after the Super Bowl, and while half the country has a hangover, BJ, we're here to take care of stuff, and let's get after it. Big weekend, huh?
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun. Got to give a shout out to our guy, Derek Stevens, and the whole crew down at Circa. Was able to sneak out of town for 30 hours with my wife and went down Saturday, had a nice dinner at Barry's Steakhouse, which we have dined in, Prater. Went there on Saturday night and got a chance to watch the UFC fights with some of the folks there at Circa, and then got to hang out all day and watch the Super Bowl, and then hurried off to the airport and flew home and got back about midnight, and here we are. But it was an awesome time. I highly, highly, highly recommend if you're ever wanting just something cool to do and you're looking for a spot to go to watch the Super Bowl, do it at Circa. It's an amazing spot, and it was a lot of fun, and so I just want to throw that out for folks. I know they're one of our sponsors, but I mean, there's not a better place if you want to get that big game feel that, and just have a lot of people than a casino or a sports book, and doing it out by the stadium swim pool out there. They had fireworks going off for all the touchdowns and things, and it was a lot of fun, awesome time, and we got to get Mike Prater down there at some point. But the game itself really wasn't that awesome. I mean, regardless of who you were rooting for, just kind of a dud, Mike Prater, in terms of just not being a very competitive game. The Eagles dominated. I thought the Eagles might win. I really did. I mean, I know I root for the Chiefs and stuff, but I was nervous about this game. I really thought the Eagles might win, but never what I or anybody could have predicted they would be as dominant as they were. But the Eagles win, and Kellen Moore, the latest Boise State player to be a Super Bowl champion, Mike.
Love that. And what a dominant performance by Kellen Moore, but I'm not even sure it was the most dominant. I mean, the Eagles were so good across the board. Fangio's defense was spectacular. Jalen Hurts was spectacular. I mean, this whole football team was spectacular. So I myself, like you, I was rooting for the Chiefs just because I wanted to see three-peat. I wanted to see history. I wanted to see something I've never seen before, but we certainly got that with Kellen Moore. We've never seen Kellen Moore win a Super Bowl, and that was pretty spectacular. I did bet. I placed my first ever bet. I didn't do it through Circa. I had to do it through my backdoor bookie, but I did place my first bet on an NFL game in probably 2 years. And I bet on the Eagles last night, so I'm going to pat myself on a little bit of a back. I didn't win a lot of money, but I didn't lose a lot of money either. So won a couple of squares at the party last night and came away thinking that was pretty fun Super Bowl for as bad as it was. The game itself. The pregame, the commercials, the halftime. I'm not sure that there was anything overly positive about the game experience last night, other than the fact that you get to watch the Super Bowl and hang out with some friends and have a good time, and that all mission accomplished yesterday.
Our man AP has been missing from the chat with Boise State on a 4-game winning streak. He hasn't been here, but he came on just to give me crap for the Chiefs today. Not only did KC take that L, but so did BJ, and for that, I woke up grateful today. So always love you, AP. 4-game winning streak for Boise State, nothing else to talk about, so he wants to come on and rip on the Chiefs. So appreciate you, AP. He says he enjoyed every second of that blowout. How about Ashton Jeanty getting in the Pizza Hut commercial, Mike Prater?
Wow, that was so cool. I saw it pregame. I'm not sure if it ever played again, if it just played that one time. I was out delivering pizzas, and all of a sudden, because I had it on my phone, and there it was, and one of the guys in our group showed it to me, and it was pretty cool. So I didn't know that was coming. There was no pre-publicity for that.
Yeah.
It was kind of sitting there. It's like, whoa, there's Ashton Jeanty busting through the door. That was a cool commercial. That may have been the best commercial of the entire day.
That was, yeah. Usually there was some PR in advance of that. He's going to be in the commercial. You knew about it, nothing. And you're literally, oh, there's Gronk. There's somebody else famous, whatever. And then it's like, wait, that's Ashton Jeanty. What is he doing? That was just the most random odd thing, but it was pretty cool. So that's Ashton Jeanty continued. He did a lot of interviews during on Radio Row during Super Bowl week. So his stock continues to rise nationally, Mike Prater.
Yeah, didn't have anything to do with the game yesterday, but he was everywhere. And that was kind of cool to see. And now, obviously, we'll get to spend some time making the transition into the NFL silly season, the NFL offseason, and Ashton Jeanty is really going to start to shine here over these next couple of weeks as we lead into the NFL draft. But that was cool to see. Just kind of a little bonus. You know, we like to be spoiled around here. We like Boise State players in the Super Bowl playing on the field. That hasn't happened since Jay Ajayi in terms of winning a Super Bowl, getting on the football field. That drought is really strong, but Kellen Moore picks up the slack, and what a dominant performance last night, and it was really fun to watch him. I'm not sure what we're going to specifically dive into today, but I thought that there was, and we all know that Kellen Moore doesn't make great television. He barely makes a great story other than just what he accomplishes on the football field, and that's pretty damn spectacular. But, you know, there was very, very, very little love for Kellen Moore last night. They didn't show him on the camera. They didn't talk about him. They showed Vic Fangio 1,000 times and talked about him 1,000 more times.
Yeah.
And have a casual mention of Kellen here, casual mention of Kellen there. So I don't know if that's was by design. I don't know if that's because of Kellen's personality, just doesn't scream headlines. Certainly the Saints thing. I thought at one point Rinaldi would give us a report on Kellen Moore and the Saints. I didn't see any of that stuff last night. So the Kellen Moore factor last night was really curious to me.
I think they did at one point. Burkhardt and Brady did reference that the reports say he's going to be the head coach of the Saints or something, and they wouldn't know, like maybe the one time they showed him. But you're right. They didn't really spend a ton of time talking about that, but that's what a cool thing for him. I mean, that could happen as early as today, maybe tomorrow. I'm sure it'll happen fairly soon. But you win a Super Bowl as the OC, and if they just said, hey, you're only going to get 58 yards on 25 carries out of Saquon Barkley, you would have probably thought the Chiefs won that game pretty easily. Just the game didn't really play out like, you look at some of the stats and things, but the Eagles dominated from start to finish. And like you said, now Kellen Moore starts his NFL head coaching career. How excited are you to see Kellen Moore, the NFL head coach?
I cannot wait for that press conference. And we all know it's going to be probably a pretty routine, pretty basic press conferences, but just watching Kellen Moore stand up behind a podium as an NFL head coach is something that we've talked about here since 2007, 8, 9, 10. Certainly by 2011, we were all discussing Kellen Moore's future around here. That's going to be pretty cool. Based on the reports yesterday, I mean, there was 2 pretty significant reports yesterday. Schefter coming out and saying it's a done deal. So now we have to just kind of worry about and figure out the timing. There was another report, and I don't remember who it was by or how many people backed it up, but apparently he was going to fly home or return home. And I know they haven't returned home yet because they're still having some press conferences in New Orleans today, but apparently he was going to return home with the team and then start the process. I don't know if the parade is tomorrow. Kellen Moore is not making decisions based on parades. I promise you that, but he might be making decisions based on the team and the family factor and sticking around and enjoying this for a couple of days. The Saints can wait 1 or 2 more days, but I'm very curious about the timing of this.
Let's see. Do you guys, Tyler says, do you guys think we'll get some past BSU coordinators will be on the staff? Any chance that Coach Pete would be the OC? I guess you're talking about the Saints staff. I did see Junior Adams, by the way, former Boise State. I don't know if you saw this or not, Mike Prater, the former Boise State wide receivers coach for a year or 2. He's at Oregon right now, is going to be the Dallas Cowboys wide receivers coach. So that is a connection, small connection to Boise State back to the Cowboys under Clayton Adams. They never coached.
And he replaces Prince. Robert Prince, who I think now is with the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Prince was there as the wide receivers coach. So Adams comes from Oregon to the Cowboys, and Prince goes from the Cowboys to the Dolphins, and Clayton Adams is the run game coordinator for the Cowboys. What a crazy world this is. Yeah, no, that is some former connections there. I did wonder about his brother, though. His brother, Kirby Moore, is the OC at Missouri. I mean, you're an SEC offensive coordinator. You're qualified to be a position coach in the NFL, probably, if he wanted to be. So I am a little curious, I guess, if Kellen Moore would consider hiring his brother at some point. I'm going to say no to that. I don't think that they have dreams of working together. I think they have dreams of building their careers parallel wise. And if they ended up working together, I think that they would love that and cherish that moment as a family. But I think Kirby's destined for college. I think he's going to be a head coach in college here in the next year or 2. And Kellen certainly is heading in his direction. I don't know if there's going to be any Boise State connections on the staff, and I can almost positively say it's not going to be Kirby Moore. It's not going to be Chris Peterson. There's a couple of offensive line coach candidates out there. Huff and Strasser certainly have some NFL and offensive line experience, and they're Boise State guys. I really think the only local connection we're going to get here, and I hate to bust out this, but it's going to be a vandal. I mean, Doug Nussmeier is going to come over and be the offensive coordinator. He's been Kellen's right-hand man and quarterback coach for at least 5 years. He's traveled with him from Dallas to L.A. to Philadelphia. I fully expect Doug Nussmeier to travel with him to New Orleans, where he can also kind of keep an eye on his son, Garrett Nussmeier, a Heisman Trophy candidate at LSU just down the road. And Kellen and Nussmeier seem to work really, really well together. Nussmeier is kind of the quarterback guru, and then Kellen's the play-calling scheme guy. So it makes a good combination. No Broncos on Kellen Moore's staff, but one vandal.
And one player, right? Is Cedric Wilson still on the Saints?
Yeah, he is still on the Saints. I don't know how productive and good is. I'm not even sure what his contract situation is. I can look that up real quick. But yeah, definitely on that team.
Also, yesterday it came out at some point that Scott Huff is going to the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be the tight ends coach for the Rams.
Oh, okay. I missed that one. So
how about that? Though? He was the O-line coach there with the Seahawks, and then now he's headed to the Rams. It sounds like.
That's got to be some kind of a connection. I wonder what his connection with the Rams is. That's interesting because I don't know. I didn't know Scott Huff had any McVay connections, or I'm not sure who the offensive coordinator there is now. It's skipping me, but that's an interesting combination and good for Huff. Great dude, awesome dude. And if he can branch out and get more experience, and I know he's done some tight ends in the past coaching, so that's not a big deal for him. I'm just glad that he's rebounding and staying in the NFL, and that's cool. Although I think he might be a better college coach. I kind of miss Scott Huff in college. Yeah, no doubt about it. And I know you had the connection with Ryan Grubb, and then Grubb went right back to the to Alabama right after he got fired when he got fired at with the Seahawks. So you wonder what was going to happen with Huff there, but it looks like he's going to his second NFL team. I never would have. Never would have seen that. Jeanty to the Saints is what Josh says in once. Don't think that that's going to happen. Don't think that that's going to happen. The Saints have way too many other things, and you guys take this whole I'm going to hire somebody because he's from Boise State connection in the NFL way too serious, guys. It is not even a priority. I remember when Dirk Cutter was the head coach in the NFL, and everybody was thinking he's going to hire every Boise State coach and player known to man. Guys, it just doesn't happen that way in the NFL. Kellen Moore is going to the Saints. I'm almost going to promise you Ashton Jeanty is not.
Mike, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I'm sporting a new BNN hat today, and we got to get you one of these. We had some new hats made, and
that's a good looking lid, dude.
Yeah, I've got blue as well right here.
Yeah.
These are made by Native Apparel, a local company. Shout out Dylan Davis, John Keller. Dylan's son plays on Naismith's baseball team, but they have a company that made some hats. We also have the rope hat here. I don't know if you like this one. We got
look at that.
Silver with the rope hat here. So I don't know if we're able to sell these or not. I've had people ask in the past, and there's some trademark issues with Boise State that I've had some problems in the past selling these. So I don't know if I can figure out a work around it where if we add $30 to your subscription price and it includes a hat. I don't know if there's a way around it, but we do have some new lids here, Mike Prater. So I'll have to get you
that. I mean, I wear my trusty rowpaint.com hat every single show. I've worn it every single day for like 2 years. It's getting a little crusty. I want to keep wearing it, but I wouldn't mind something else in the rotation.
There you go. And speaking of this golf hat here, Mike Prater, you can put it on your calendar. It's going to be different format a little bit. There's going to be some different things. So I'm not ready to make any big announcements yet. But May 30th is going to be the BNN golf tournament. Again, we are doing it on May 30th. It's the same Friday after Memorial Day out at Timberstone. More details to come, but we're going to mix it up a little bit. We had the rec last year, and that forced us to start late, and then we had the afternoon session get going late, and there were some issues with that. So we may go back down to one shotgun start and try something different this year. But May 30th, if you're interested, put it on your calendar. More details to come on the BNN golf tournament, May 30th, when it's worth the price of admission to see Mike Prater on the tee box.
I don't know about that, but I just threw that sucker on my calendar, so we're good to go. They said, what time? And I said, all day, baby, all day. Let's go.
Well, let's any more football topics, Mike, or should we talk basketball here?
Football topics. No, I just think, the big thing here is certainly the timing of Kellen Moore and what's going to happen with him moving forward and the staff that he's going to build. I think there's a lot of curiosity about his staff, a lot of curiosity about the timing. And, it's funny. We can almost have a gambling. What are we going to see next? Kellen Moore at a parade or Kellen Moore behind a podium? I guess that's, once we get that figured out, we can kind of figure out where exactly he's going to go with next in his career. But I'm excited for the Kellen Moore week. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. But that's the end of the football season. It's kind of depressing to wake up on Monday morning and know that the football season is a long ways away. It's a long ways between here and August 30th when Boise State plays in Tampa. So welcome to the offseason, gentlemen.
Yep. We had Spencer Danielson on BNN on last Thursday. You can go watch that interview if you missed it. I know he's making some of the media rounds. You guys either had him or are going to be having him, I know, in the near future. We are also doing a weekly segment, as you guys are, with Jeremiah Dickey. That you guys, I think, are the second Tuesday of the month?
Yes, sir. Starting tomorrow, yeah.
Okay, so we're looking forward to that. And then the following week will be our first segment. We're the third Thursday of every month, I believe. So I think that he's going to do something weekly with you guys and us and with Jay Tust. And so that'll be nice for basically once a week. He'll be out there somewhere, I guess, doing some interviews. And we'll get a monthly opportunity to talk to him. And we'll take some fan questions and things. I was going to say you stole my graphic idea with the segment topic with Ask the AD, but I guess you guys had Ask the AD back in the day with remember Kurt Absey would come on. You guys had him on your show, so I'll have to think of a new title for our segment. You guys can have Ask the AD, I guess.
We threw on we did Ask the AD with Kurt Absey for probably a couple of years, and we did him.
That was weekly.
Week. Yeah, every week. Come on, Dickie. What's the deal, man? Once a month? Are you kidding me? Absey did it every Tuesday for a whole 2 years, man. I'm joking a little bit. The times are different, and Jeremiah is out there grinding very, very hard. We're all lucky to get him once a week, and I'm glad your guys are doing it. I'm glad Jay's doing it, and I'm glad they're giving us access to that. Lots of things to talk about in terms of this offseason. This is going to be one of the biggest, most important off seasons in the history of Boise State football. Lots of things to talk about with JD.
What is on your top of that list in terms of tomorrow and catching up with him and the importance, I guess, of the offseason that you're talking about?
Just raising money. And it's really unfortunate that has become it's always been a priority, but now it might only be the only thing on the list right now. He's got a million other things to do. I get that, but raising money is so imperative for this program right now. And it's hard to raise money when you've got so many different things to raise money for. Do you do it for infrastructure? Do you do it for the North End Zone? Do you do it for student athletes? Do you do it for coaching? I mean, he's got so many different wants and needs down there. And then in April, we're going to figure out all the details of the NCAA versus House lawsuit. Those are going to be the marching orders for athletic departments. You have to give this kind of money to that. You have to give that kind of money over there. And there's going to be all kinds of marching orders. And then July 1st, brand new rules kick in. Revenue sharing kicks in. We make this transition from an NIL era to a revenue sharing era. But at the end of the day, it's all about raising money and getting it into the right hands of student athletes and doing it the responsible way, the Spencer Danielson and Leon Rice kind of way. So I'm really looking forward to this offseason. There's so many different questions, and that doesn't even include spring camp, which I think on your show the other day, Spencer Danielson talked about that opening up here in a couple of weeks in March. The spring game is going to be April 19th now. That's all out there in public. So very much looking forward to spring camp. That's going to be a big one for this football team. Yeah, it's literally 1 week from today, March 10th. It's 4 weeks. 4 weeks from today. Is the first day of spring practice. They're going to do 3 practices. I'm curious to find out more about the schedule, but they're doing 3 practices and then taking the week off for spring break and then coming back with 4 weeks. And they're going to spread it out a little bit. In the past, they've kind of done this 2 weeks. You do half your sessions, you take your week off for spring break, and then you do 2 weeks, and it's kind of a 5-week thing. But they're going to, I guess, not practice quite as often and spread it out into 4 weeks after spring break. So I guess that would be 3 practices a week for 4 weeks essentially till they would have the spring game on April 19th, I believe, is what they said. So yeah, we're literally 4 weeks from right now. We'll be watching out there in the indoor or on the blue or somewhere a spring practice in 4 weeks. Mike Prater, love it. It's always football season, baby. Always football season. Yeah, and all the coaching contracts came out, so they renewed. We got all that money info and things. So a lot of kind of news and notes. I wish we had more time with Spencer. We talked a lot about the recruiting class, but I know that they're going to make that big push, as you said, with the local businesses. He's already got his talking points on how many local businesses there are and things like that. So we're hoping to get him back out there. We're working on that in terms of some NIL stuff too. But the little happy hour thing we did with him and Leon, where they were taking questions and stuff the night before the golf tournament. That's one of the changes we're making. That's going to probably be included in the price of your ticket. It may be a little higher ticket price this year, but it may include that event the night before with hopefully some speeches by some coaches and things. So we're working on that, and so we'll see where it comes. But let's switch and talk a little football, Mike. By the way, I brought that up, football, because we are this week going to have a couple of football players on our show, working out the dates and the players. But with basketball being on a bye this week, and a football staff and SID department that's in the offseason, you can actually get guys on still. You guys have had some players in your studio. I know Maddox, right, and some other guys. Yep. So we're going to get a couple guys on this week. I thought with the bye week for basketball, we'll talk a little football this week as well, and have some interviews kind of leading into spring practice. So stay tuned for that. But much to AP's disdain or some of the haters in the chat, Mike Prater, a 4-game winning streak here for the basketball team, and curious your take on kind of big picture where they're at, and we'll do that here in just a moment. So if you have a basketball take or thought, you can get that in the chat, but I do want to thank some of our great sponsors that make this show free of charge for you to watch on YouTube, and that includes Andy Rowe and our friends at rowpaint.com. All your concrete coatings for your back patio, your garage, your interior, exterior painting, all your painting needs. Make sure you hit up our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. Hey, TacoBellWorks.com. If you want to apply for a job, Taco Bell is hiring. You can get more information to apply for a job and find out about the $400,000+ they've committed to student athlete scholarships online at TacoBellWorks.com. We appreciate the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family, for their support, and the food's pretty darn good as well. Those Cantina Bowls, the Lux Cravings boxes, all the great food at Taco Bell. Hit them up, Treasure Valley local Taco Bell location. Hey, Tyson Degenhart, ICCU.com. We're doing a show either tomorrow night or Wednesday night. I forget the night. We'll have an ICCU edition of the Tyson Degenhart show, I believe Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, and we'll get a player or two on there. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. All your banking needs. You may like your bank, but if you're like Prater and myself, you make the switch, you'll be happy you did at ICCU.com.
KTIK.com. Hopefully, folks took advantage on Super Bowl Sunday of the $2 hot dog and fountain drink deal at Jackson's 2 days after the Broncos score 70 points. You get a hot dog and a fountain drink for $2 at Jackson's, and that's using your Let's Go Rewards app, and that was yesterday, so we'll find out if the Broncos can score 70 this weekend, and then you can get that deal 2 days later. And don't forget, 25 cents from every hot dog sold goes to support the Horseshoe Collective. Snake River Pool and Spa, patio and game, thespateam.com. Whether it's a sauna, whether it's a spa, whether it's a pool table for the game room, they got you covered. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. Been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. You can check them out online at thespateam.com. And today's sponsor is the Blue and Orange Store, sponsoring our Monday shows. Travis Oxen Company, the Blue and Orange Store. Anywhere in the world, you can order online, whether it's Boise State jerseys, whether it's hats, sweatshirts, caps, bumper stickers, car flags, kids, they got everybody covered at the Blue and Orange Store. Online, theblueandorangestore.com, or you can go into the Boise Town Square Mall there, the second floor next to Pro Image. We've been doing some video surveillance. We've been studying the tape here, Mike Prater, and I'm going to have to do a little more in-depth analysis here, but Emmanuel Ugbo, he shushed the crowd after he hit his three-pointer, and it's been brought to my attention on social media that he may have been shushing in my direction. In terms of maybe I tweeted something about don't need to see Emmanuel Ugbo shooting three-pointers, and then he drains a three and maybe shushed over in my direction. If I'm the one that fires up Emmanuel Ugbo to start hitting threes, I guess he can shush at me every time, I guess.
That one kind of caught me off guard. That performance, I guess that's what Leon Rice has seen in his coaching staff in the recruiting process and the potential that could be out there. I certainly hadn't seen it, and I'm certainly no basketball expert. I'm the guy last week that said Ugbo shouldn't be starting. Ugbo doesn't really bring much to the table. Why do you start Ugbo for 3 minutes and then set him on the bench and don't let him play? It would just seem very odd and very curious to me. So, Leon Rice was throwing him a life preserver and trying to get him to inspire himself to be a better basketball player, and he certainly showed it the other day. So, we can sit here and criticize Leon, and yeah, he's rebounded from quote-unquote rock bottom with 4 nice wins, probably against 4 teams you're supposed to beat. The real challenge starts now. We all understand that on Saturday with that road trip and then 3 monster home games. So we'll see how it plays out. But Boise State's done everything that it was supposed to do, including the mental side of things. Because I think most of this battle with this basketball team is finding that confidence and getting Ugbo to have the confidence and getting Meadow to have the confidence and getting Peanut to have the confidence. And so many other different players are running around with all this ability with doubts in their head. And that's based on what they were doing. So I think it's been a really successful 2 weeks mentally and physically for this basketball team.
Yeah, 12 points, 5 rebounds for Emmanuel Ugbo in 17 minutes. And as I said, did hit that three-pointer. And I had no problem with him if they wanted to. I didn't like. It was more of a oddness of what's like. Why is Leon Rice doing this? It wasn't necessarily a criticism of Emmanuel Ugbo himself. Like, he got his 3 minutes, they put him on the bench, and then we never saw him again. But he's obviously done enough in practice and to deserve a few more minutes, and they brought him back in there. And part of that is whether it's foul trouble in previous games to Stanley or some of the other stuff going on there. But if you can get 12 and 5 out of Emmanuel Ugbo, that's a game changer for this team if he's out there to do more than just take up a couple minutes and rebound and to defend. I guess I hadn't realized that, and I asked him after the game, like, who were you shushing, which now is funny considering it was probably me, apparently, from what I'm hearing. But he and even Cardenas, if you watch the videos, like, because he said nobody's, and Cardenas is like, nobody, huh? Trying to like egg him on a little bit. And so I don't know if we're quite full Max Rice mode from last season where he didn't like some of me and Jay's stats or not. But if Emmanuel Ugbo is going to go 1 for 1 from 3-point range every game, he can look over and shush me all he wants, I guess.
Is that no? He had. It looks like he's had 3 or 4 other. He's like had 3 3-pointers all season. So
yeah, he had one down the Cayman Islands. I remember that. And he hasn't had a ton, but he was only 2 of 12, I think, on the season before that shot. So I think he's 3 of 13. But I do stand by, and it's kind of how I feel about with Omar Stanley too. Like, you're not in there to shoot threes. They got other guys that can shoot threes. I'm pretty sure the 3 he took at UNLV was a terrible shot. I forget what was going on in the game. So it's not a criticism of him individually or his shooting. It's just like, hey man, you're a solid player, but I want to see you inside of 5 feet more. Rebound, make your layups, and do some things in there. He's probably not the first guy you think on the court's going to be shooting the three. But if he's wide open and they give it to him and he can knock one down, that's great. Good for him. And that was nice to see. And it's another nice development, as you said, of this confidence with the 4-game winning streak. And then you're right, Mike, and somebody, mentioned it in the chat, 4 bottom level, teams in the league. But I mean, that's who they played. That's there's no other choice. Those were the next 4 games. So it's better to win all 4 of those than lose them. And yeah, we're not, putting them in the final 4 yet. They have a long way to go here, but at least, Mike, it looks like it's going to be interesting down the stretch here. I mean, there was, after that Colorado State game, you're going like, oh wow, this season is like, spiraling out of control. There's all kinds of talk just about how bad the season's going. And I get it. They're 17-7. It's not like they're, undefeated or anything, but just the feeling right now compared to where they were 2 weeks ago, and whether or not they actually get back on the bubble picture, I don't know. I mean, Joe Lenardi's listed them, they were the 12th team out. Now he's got them 9th. I mean, at least in Joe Lenardi's eyes, they're approaching at least on the bubble mix. And that was over 4 bad teams. If they go win some of these games, and I know Bart Torvik and some of these other people are at least saying that, if they were to go 6-1 down the stretch here, they'd be right in the mix. Like, we'll get to that. We'll see. But the fact that I'm even saying we'll see about that, like the fact that might even become a small, like possibility, Mike. I mean, at least we're going to have some exciting games like Saturday's game at San Diego State to talk about and look forward to down the stretch, and at least some drama, because it looked like there for a while a couple weeks ago. This season was just going down the drain quickly.
The individual confidence builders that we've talked about just previously in the show has been spectacular. And the biggest part for me over these last couple of weeks has been the defense. In those 4 games, the defense has been spectacular, especially taking it on the road. They haven't been great defensively on the road for a while, and they proved they were able to do that. I think in these 4 games, defensively, they're giving up less than 60 points a game. I think the average is right around 58, 59, 60, somewhere right around there. Consistently playing that defense, especially after that Colorado State game where things got really, really sloppy, and they had been sloppy on the road. So, you know what? I know you have to follow, the metrics and all that kind of stuff. To me, none of that stuff really matters. I haven't talked about the NCAA for a couple of weeks, and I don't think the BSU basketball team has, as they've tried to get better every single day. Just keep getting better. You're probably going to lose 1 or 2 of these games down the road. I don't see them finishing undefeated. I just don't see that happening. But if they can play well and then just get to the Friday night semifinals, and play a great game there, that's kind of where you want to peak. If you can peak in the Friday semifinals and only limit your losses for the rest of the season for 1, maybe 2 at the most, and then just get yourself into that championship game and then see what happens. Everything that this basketball team wants is still out there, except for the easy at-large bid, and probably an at-large bid, period. But that's okay. This team doesn't always have to live on at-large bursts. So it's a scrappy team. It's a fighting team. It's a team, that's going to get better. And, as much as I've always criticized Leon Rice, I said 2 weeks ago, this basketball team is going to finish strong going down the stretch. I just think that they're too good. They're too talented. Now, those games coming up against the teams in front of them in the standings, those are going to be the barometer test. And I can't wait to see how they play out when we see Boise State, even going to San Diego State this weekend. There's a lot to look at, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll get to that as we wrap up the show in our final segment in a minute, kind of the schedule ahead. But you mentioned the defense. San Jose State goes 2 of 18 from 3-point range, and they were the best 3-point shooting team in the conference coming in. Some of that was guys just missing shots, but I mean, obviously they were doing some things defensively, and that comes off on the heels of the 1 for 16, I think UNLV was from 3-point range. So, 3 of 35 or whatever it would be, 3 of 34, wow. I think, or 2 teams from 3-point range. And I think in all 3 games, Nevada and then Fresno as well shot 30 or less % from 3 or close to it. So the 3-point defense has been much improved. And I know that you mentioned the numbers and you don't really look at that and stuff, Mike, but Boise State defensively, there's this kind of just jumbled formula that Ken Pomeroy has called, defensive efficiency, where they just take the possessions, what the other team does, how they get their points, what do you do on the play, and kind of jumble it all together. And the last 3 years, Boise State's been a top 30 defensive team at Ken Pom each of the last 3 years. This year, after that Colorado State loss, they were at around 100. And you look 4 games later, they're up to 63. And it doesn't sound like, whatever, but to jump almost 40 spots in 4 games is pretty remarkable. So it tells you the defense they're the last 2 weeks they've been one of the best defensive teams in the country, and that's how they've won some of these games. And they're going to San Diego State, Mike. A couple years ago, they literally won a game 42-37 against San Diego State. Like, they scored 42 points and they won because of their defense at Viejas Arena, holding San Diego State to 37 points. So the offense is not the problem. The offense is fine. I mean, now you're getting guys like Ugbo pouring in 12 points. Like, for the most part, the offense, you can count on being good enough to win. I think this team down the stretch, it's going to be their defense. And you mentioned the individual guys. Like, how about Pearson Carmichael? Has that game where he has all the turnovers and everyone's ripping on him. First possession, he's in the game. He drives to the hoop and scores on a tough bucket. Hit a couple other buckets as well. He has 7 points in the game. Buchanan, again, scores in double figures. He continues to impress. Cardenas, 16 points, 9 assists. I said it after the game, and Ugbo kind of laughed. He couldn't believe it. But, I mean, he's literally 1 assist away from the single-season record, Mike Prater, with a month left in the season. He's going to obliterate Boise State's single-season assist record. I mean, it's a shame we only see him for 1 year, man, because I think he would have been an all-time Boise State kind of fan favorite / legend, a la Tyson Degenhardt, if he had played all 4 of his years at Boise State. But Cardenas has been huge. And then Tyson, continues to do what he does. And Andrew Meadow, who's been one of their most consistent scorers, consistent players, only scores 2 points, and you still win the game rather convincingly. So overall, I think the offense, continues to be fine. And you're getting guys that are, other guys, Carmichael and Ugbo, now giving you, minutes offensively, and what you're getting from Javen Buchanan. I mean, the rotation got shortened, and it's starting to get figured out. And some of these guys that are starting to get a little more playing time or are starting to produce here.
I think Boise State's coaching staff has done a hell of a job over these last 2 or 3 weeks to come out from rock bottom. And again, that's their words. And you don't hear a coach say that very often, but they had lost 4 of 6. And what really was rock bottom in that Colorado State game was just the effort, standing around, including that final play that lost them the game, where they were kind of 0 for 3 when it came to effort, stopping the drive, stopping the rebound, stopping the kick out. And it's really weird. It's really, really, really weird to see a Boise State basketball team coached by Leon Rice to get out-hustled, to get out-efforted, to just be standing around and playing lazy basketball. That was the rock bottom part, more so than the loss, if you ask me. So there's been a lot of soul-searching within this coaching staff, a lot of soul-searching individually with these players, and probably collectively as well. And it's kind of working. So I love what they've done. The schedule worked out perfectly with San Jose, UNLV, Fresno, and Nevada, and those 4 games. And here comes that road trip to San Diego State with a chip on your shoulder. I mean, San Diego State came into Boise and just beat up the Broncos, and now they have to go back down there and apply everything that we just talked about: the defense, the offensive efficiency, the individual accomplishments. So everything that they've worked on over these last couple of weeks, it's almost like San Diego State's like a final test, even though it's not final, but it's a midterm test in terms of trying to get back on track and making sure all the work you've done over these last 2 weeks continues going into even a hardier part of their schedule.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I want to thank another couple sponsors here real quick, Mike, and then I do want to finish up looking at that schedule that's ahead here in the stretch and what you think can happen here. But Lithia Ford of Boise, our vehicles from Lithia Ford of Boise, you can view it online, lithiafordboise.com, view their full inventory, or go on into the showroom there in Fairview in Boise. And they've got Latrell Caples now. They've got Cage Casey, Roger Carrion. So they're helping supply vehicles and helping step up in the NIL game with some of your favorite athletes. So return the favor for your next car truck purchase. Make it at Lithia Ford of Boise. Hey, Bauscher Real Estate. Always love the pregame text, Mike Prater, right about tip-off from Matt Bauscher asking me for the refs' names because, he's about to get after it there courtside. He was doing it again on Friday night against San Jose State. Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. And when you buy or sell a home with Matt, you get to meet everybody in the picture there. Just great customer service, unmatched, and a big supporter, obviously, and financially as well in terms of the NIL game and supporting the Broncos and Bronco Nation News. So he's part of the Boise State home team now. You can get more information on his services, and I would recommend doing that at BauscherRealEstate.com. Hey, Ridley's Family Markets, shop Ridley's.com, locations across the Treasure Valley, the Magic Valley, the state of Idaho, surrounding states. Shop Ridley's.com. Get more information. Download that Skip app. Give savings up to 40% off at the checkout line at shopridleys.com. You looking for a job? Transportation compliance service, transcompservice.com. They can help you get back out on the open road in no time. The trucking industry is booming right now. Get more information. Apply to sign up and use their services and permits and things at transcompservice.com. I will be having a lean feast today, Mike, because I was not eating lean feast at Circa yesterday. I can tell you that. down there over the weekend. Had fun, had a little cheat weekend. The Super Bowl food, I'm sure everybody indulged a little over the weekend, so it's time to get back on track, and you can do that with healthy eating options from Lean Feast. LeanFeastMeridian.com is the website. LeanFeastMeridian.com, 10,000 plus combinations, all the different steak, chicken, shrimp, fish, and the best part is just the convenience of it. 2 minutes in the microwave is all it takes, and you're eating healthy and eating delicious, filling food there. Get more information online at Lean Feast and speakpipe.com/BNN if you want to leave us a voicemail. We're not as risky as Prater and Johnny taking the calls live on the air. You got to leave us a voicemail. Speakpipe.com/BNN. Leave us a voicemail in the Signature Roofing voice inbox, and we'll play that on an upcoming show. It's brought to you by Signature Roofing, covering our community for more than 2 decades. Whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, or an inspection, they got you covered at Signature Roofing. Again, online at mysignatureroofing.com. All right, Mike Prater, I'm going to put I'm going to share the screen here just so we can see the upcoming Ken Palm projections here for Boise State. And you look at this, and they've got them projected to win 6 of the remaining 7 games here. The only game that the metrics say Boise State will lose is the San Diego State game. If you look over on the far right, though, it does, in terms of the aggregate, say that their projected record is that they'll lose 2 more games because one's they're expected to win by literally 1 point against Nevada, 3 points against New Mexico, 4 points against Utah State. So the odds they win all of those games aren't great. So they do project them to go 5-2 to finish up here overall, but in the individual games, if that makes any sense, they are favored in 6 of the 7 games. The at Nevada is actually a 50%, so it's literally a 50-50, and for some reason they gave them the 1 point edge on that. But at San Diego State on Saturday, home to New Mexico, at Nevada, home to Utah State. And so, we just had that 4-game stretch, Mike. Now you get this 4-game stretch, and if you can just get through this, with a fighter's chance still, then you have Fresno, Air Force, and then Colorado State at home. The final 3 games are right there for the taking. And by the way, Mike Prater, I looked this up. It has been over a decade. I think it was about a decade. I think it was 2015. The last time Boise State entered the Mountain West tournament on more than a 2-game winning streak. And so they've always just had a game at the end of the year that they've lost and never gone into that tournament with a lot of momentum. And then it kind of carries over and they don't play well down in Vegas a lot of times. They've got a real chance at a minimum to be on at least a 3-game winning streak and maybe more if they win that Utah State game at home. And the schedule sets up here, Mike, all 4 of the teams that are ahead of you in the standings, you play. 3 of them are at home. You got a chance to win some games at the end of the year and go into the conference tournament feeling good. Like, it's all right in front of them right now. I mean, they just have to go out and try to get it done. And obviously Saturday going to be a massive start to that, because if you find a way to beat San Diego State, then I think people, yourself included, me, can kind of go, okay, maybe this is real here. Maybe they are going to do something special, or at least have an opportunity to put themselves in position to do something like that. And then I think that New Mexico game could be a sellout if you beat San Diego State. I think that the fans would in turn hopefully respond next Wednesday.
The schedule's worked out great in Boise State's favor, and that's just by a courtesy of hindsight. These 4 games that Boise State just played, exactly what was needed. Now the schedule's in front of them in terms of the home games. You got really good opponents coming in. Everybody in front of Boise State in the standings is coming in for a home game, advantage Boise State. And their road games are against some of the lesser teams, the Nevadas, Fresnos, and the Air Forces. So it's almost like the last half of this entire Mountain West season has worked out perfectly for Boise State's schedule. They just have to take advantage of it. And as you said, next up, San Diego State, 8:00 on Saturday night. And San Diego State, kind of like Boise, they just went on a 4-game winning streak. They're not that great this year, and they're trying to scratch and claw. Then they go to Colorado State and lose that tough game in a tough environment. It took San Diego State, a 20-0 run to beat Wyoming, and they got to win over. So, you know what? San Diego State, even though they came in here and beat Boise State, this seems like the kind of game that Boise State should go down there on Saturday and win this game. If that is the case, that's huge. If not, hey, Leon just has to go back to work and grind. You have to hold court with those 3 monster home games, and we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, and I know you said you're not talking about a tournament, and I get it. There's really not a ton of reason yet, but any of the bracketologists or people that are saying, okay, well, does Boise State have any chance? Looking at it, they pretty much all say that it has to include a win on Saturday against San Diego State. They need a road win. They don't have a ton of quality road wins, and in terms of a quad 1 win. So if you even want to have that conversation 3 weeks from now, that the path, as small as it may be, and I'm trying to throw it is a very small, not a very large chance. We're trying to be realistic here. but any path would have to include a win on Saturday against San Diego State. So if you can win that game, then like you said, you get the other games at home. I think the game in Reno is going to be a little tricky, but you look at San Diego State's schedule here. I put that on the screen. They play again tomorrow night against San Jose in San Jose, and then they're home for Boise State. They've still got to go to Utah State. They've still got New Mexico at home, UNLV on the road, and Nevada. So they've got another loss or two in there maybe as well. And you look at the Mountain West standings. I'll pull those up here in a second, Mike. But they lost to Colorado State there, so that's 4 losses for both of them now, Boise State and Colorado State. And so I'm not sure they can quite get to first, Mike. Like I said, I'm not quite sure they'll be able to pass New Mexico, just because I don't know if New Mexico, if there's enough runway left on the schedule here for them. But in terms of getting maybe second place or third place, in terms of the league standings, that should be the goal. I don't think that's crazy. You're only 2 games. You see them on the screen here, 2 games back of Utah State for second place. You're only a game back of Colorado State, and you play them, still. So you could pick that up, and they are, I guess, percentage points at a half game ahead of San Diego State right now. But both teams have 4 losses in the conference. But if you could stay out of the 4-5 game and not have to play New Mexico in the semifinals, that would, if they win the league, that would probably be ideal, Mike. So getting in that 2-3 game, and obviously the higher you finish, the worse team you play in the quarterfinals as well. So I think try to get to second or third place. That should be a realistic goal for this team.
Yeah, and a 2-3 finish certainly keeps you away from New Mexico, if I remember right, all the way until the conference championship game. And that's certainly what you want to avoid. New Mexico's the class of this conference right now, guys, and they probably will continue to be based on the way they're playing. I know Utah State's up there as well, but we knew what New Mexico did in Logan, so that establishes them as the alpha male in this basketball race. And if you could stay away from them as much as possible, so second and third would be absolutely fantastic. But obviously the main thing is to stay in the top 5. I don't think that's an issue now. It was probably an issue a couple of weeks ago. You want that first round bye. You don't want to have to go down there and have to play 4 games. So I think they're doing all the right things. And New Mexico is probably not going to be overtaken. They're going to go into this tournament as the number 1 seed, and then you just have to jockey yourself. And again, going back, and I know you believe this as well, despite what all the numbers say and what everybody else is saying, they just have to be playing well on that Thursday and Friday in Las Vegas, especially that Friday night. They have to have confidence. This is a team, this is kind of I don't know what to say. It's a mature team, but it's almost like an immature team in terms of if something goes bad, the confidence goes down. I've never seen more individual players dealing with confidence before on a pretty good basketball team. The Omar Stanleys of the world and the Carmichaels, and I know he's young and fresh and all that kind of stuff, but it seems like there's so many different individual confidence stories with this basketball team. Just feel better about yourself individually, feel better about yourself collectively as a team. And if you're playing great on that Friday night, I think good things can happen to this basketball team.
Yeah, and like I said, 2015, the last time, just to keep something to keep in mind down the stretch, because they obviously haven't done it yet, but they haven't gone into the conference tournament on more than a 2-game winning streak in a decade. It kind of makes sense because they don't play great. They just seems like they lose a game late in the last game of the season or whatever, and it just kind of carries over, and then they fizzle out and they're done in the conference tournament more times than not, one and done. And so maybe this is different in terms of them peaking later in the season, and maybe they're gonna, go on this run and be ascending and go into the conference tournament, at the right time. And we'll certainly see. But it should be fun Saturday, San Diego State. As we said, we'll have all week to talk about it. Nathan Carroll has just sent me an article that I'll get posted after the show as well, kind of looking at big picture where Boise State is at right now. But we'll see what the crowds are too. Next, we'll talk about that next week. But New Mexico for an 8:30 game on a Wednesday. But if they beat San Diego State, I would think that fans would show up for that. But you mentioned you have Jeremiah Dickey on tomorrow. What do we got today or the next couple of days coming up here on Idaho Sports Talk?
Lots and lots of Kellen Moore conversation today, guys, trying to figure out the timing, trying to recash what he did over the weekend and certainly getting the Super Bowl. I know Johnny's going to be all fired up for Kellen Moore and where he's going. So tomorrow we're trying to get we're going to finalize JD on our questions and our sit down with him. I think we're trying to chase down Clayton Adams, chase down Kirby Moore. We're chasing down all the big names this weekend, and then certainly later on in the week, getting used to Boise State basketball and the San Diego State game on Saturday.
We were driving to school this morning, and my 7-year-old son in the back seat said, "Mom, I thought the Eagles were really, really bad. I thought the Eagles were bad at football." And he goes, "Oh, I was confusing them with the Seahawks." I said,
ouch.
I texted
Ouch.
Johnny, or we texted Johnny and Tuss that this morning. They enjoyed that. But congrats to the Eagles. Congrats to Kellen Moore, Super Bowl champions. Hope everybody had a good time and enjoyed it. And like I said at the beginning of the show, get down to Circa next year for your Super Bowl party. Speaking of Circa, we'll be there for the Mountain West tournament. If you want to stay there, I got some promo codes. Email me. We'll get you a promo code. We got some events coming up at Circa for the Mountain West tournament next month. So appreciate all you guys. Thanks, Prater. Thank you to Bob for helping get us on the air as well. We'll be listening 3 o'clock today, 3 to 6, Idaho Sports Talk, 95.3 FM, 1350 AM, the app, the website, KTIK.com, all the various ways. And download that. Get them on Apple Podcasts and the different various apps. That's the way I do it. Every day the show is right there. If I miss it live, which I do sometimes, you can just download the podcast and have it right there on your phone to listen to. And I probably shouldn't say this, but it skips the commercials. Nice little way to fast forward and cut down the show there. But appreciate it to all of our subscribers, all of our advertisers. Go subscribe if you can. Tell your friends. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go check BroncoNationNews.com for Nathan's article and subscribe. And Prater, what do you got on the docket for a column coming here? And what's going on in your mind here?
I'm going to send you a column here in the next couple of hours. You can throw it out there in the next couple of days.
Right.
Anytime. I spent some time last weekend with Tanaka Beard, and I asked him one specific question. And if you know, you know. I asked him in terms of Tyson Degenhart chasing his all-time scoring record. I said, Tanaka, are you either Barry Sanders or are you Eric Dickerson? And I kind of took that approach in a column that'll be out there on BNN here in the next day or two.
Yes. You told me you were writing about that, and I thought that was a perfect one, and I think that'll be great to post later today or tomorrow and have some shelf life all week with the game on Saturday. We thought that was going to be all we had. The rest of the season was the record chase. Now we're going to get some meaningful basketball games for the team as well, it looks like. So the pursuit of the record is on, and you can read about Mike Prater's column as he chases Tanaka Beard's record at BroncoNationNews.com as well. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.